So, the talk that you gave there,
Yes.
what was the theme?
How to use butterflies as bioindicators of forest, of the health of a forest.
And when you came back,
Yes.
how did that experience affect your work here?
Oh, they sent me down to what was at the time called the Climate Change Unit. And I had actually my father had collected a certain group of moths called hawk moths
Moths.
through the 70s and 80s. And when I identified them in the 1980s, late 1980s, with help from a person called Ian Kitching at the British Museum, so he was working on hawk moths. And it turned out that we had recorded 77 species here, and half of them were previously known from the eastern Himalaya. So in a book published in 1937, all the data available at the time had been collated for this particular family, and so they had not recorded it from. And so one of the centers that had been, one of the collecting centers at the time was Mussoorie. Then there were collections from Sikkim, Darjeeling, Shillong, and Dharwar in South India, the Nilgiris, so like that. But for the Himalaya, we had Mussoorie, which was a collecting center. So half of the stuff that we recorded here had not been recorded from Mussoorie. 100 kilometers as the crow flies. 100 kilometers is not a big distance for hawk moths. Single hawk moths can fly that distance. So the question became that were these moths always here, or had they moved in recently? So I suggested that they had moved in recently. This was also part of the talk. So at the time, global warming models predicted that the Himalaya would get warmer and wetter, which meant that it's not the rainfall would increase, but the pattern would change. So we would not have those dry periods during winter, which were a limiting factor. Now the hawk moths, they pupate underground. So if the soil dries out, they also die. There has to be a minimum humidity in the soil. So apparently those conditions were being met between 1937 and 1980s, 87 shall we say, so that those moths could now colonize this area and survive. And then later on, with the grace of a person called Steve Alter, who's an author in Mussoorie, I managed to do a year's survey in Mussoorie. 1 year survey of moths, and we found many of the new entrants from Sikkim in Mussoorie. So that confirmed that in fact they had moved in.
Migrated from?
Yes. And now some of them have even been recorded from Pakistan. So they've gone as far as that. So it confirmed that the climate had changed, and we could then predict that traditional land use practices would have to change. And we were experiencing that in the sense that this was a belt for stone fruit. Peaches, plums, apples, apricots, pears. And they were beginning to die out. And what was taking the place was lychee, guavas, tropical fruit. So we have a tropical fruit growing here now. And that fits in with this prediction. So that is part of my talk. So they said you should go down to the Climate Change Unit, and I went there, I met the people, they just started it up, and the only data they had was a northern movement of a bumblebee in England and the northern movement of that thing called the corn borer moth in Europe.
Corn borer.
So these were the only two things they had. So my data came as a huge lump of data to them, and when I published with the Zoological Survey of India later, I sent them a copy. So I knew then that there was nobody who was actually working in my field, because Oxford would have known about it.
Of course.
And so I knew that what I had to do, I had to walk that path alone. But then when I came back to India, this whole thing started off, and some projects were stolen, some proposals were stolen, and stuff like that. And if those people had not stolen it, we would have got the model by now. We would have been in a position to monitor, reintroduce, and stabilize our rivers by now.